Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to H3 TV, where I meet you every week on my version of a podcast, which is a talk show, because I am a visual learner and I like to see the faces of the people I listen to. So I come to you thinking there has to be other visual learners out there as well. H3 TV was created when COVID hit, and I realized everybody's dealing with some disruption in life, in their workplace, in their personal life. They're all dealing with disruption. So we come to you bringing you hope, encouragement, health, and happiness. We challenge you on your thoughts so that you don't let disruption define you and that you ultimately soar above your circumstances. So don't just survive, but soar. So every week when I get to come into your home or your office or wherever you are, your phone, and meet us, I bring a guest to share a bit of their story. So if you have questions or comments for myself or my guest, please feel free to put them in the chat. We will either answer them live on the show or we will answer them after the show. But thanks for being here with us on this Thursday afternoon. Today's guest is Wendy. Hey, Wendy, welcome to the show.
Oh my God. Thank you, Annie. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So good to have you here. So tell us, who are you? What do you do? Where do you live? All the good things.
Well, hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. My name is Wendy Abdulmesih, and I'm better known as your helpful Wendy. One of the things I like to do most is blog. I blog about the travels that I do. It's about lifestyle and travel, but I'm mostly a person who's seeking for happiness. And so that's me, someone that is pursuing happiness and peace.
I love that. Well, when we have peace, we have more happiness. So, Wendy, where do you live? Where are you located?
I'm in Miami, Florida, in the United States.
Okay, so across from me in the United States, you say, so that means you're not always from the United States. Where are you originally from?
Well, I was born and raised in Venezuela, and my parents are Arabs from Syria and Lebanon. That's why my last name.
Okay, Lebanon and Venezuela, right?
Yes.
Different. You say it better than I do. I used to have a boy that I sponsored there, and I always wanted to go there. I never got to go yet, but maybe that's in my travels. So when I say the word just disruption, what does that mean to you? What do you think of when I say the word disruption?
Yeah, it's that moment. It can be different moments that pause you from stopping doing what you were supposed to do. And sometimes people like us, you don't just stop, but you kind of like it gets all messed up. So some people cannot recover from the structure. It can be, something that happens at the moment or something that is stuck in your mind. So it can be different things, and it matters how you react to those moments on how you can move on.
Yeah, exactly. So what about you? What about your life? Have you had a professional or personal disruption that stopped you? I like that. It does kind of stop you. It like takes your breath away for a moment. What has been a disruption that you have navigated in your life, professionally or personally?
Yeah, so I have had, unfortunately, like all of us, in both ways, in both situations, and but I am resilient. So professionally, for the past 2 years, I've been trying to find that work environment that fills me in different way possible. I'm a firm believer that I will not go and work for a paycheck. I have said that on my thousand of interviews. So, but the one thing that happened last year, specifically in August of 2022, I got laid off, and it was the first time I got laid off in my life. So that was a big disrupt. That was a big stop or pause or wake up call for me, in a professional level. And it took me some time to understand it wasn't because of me, but it wasn't that they didn't need me at that moment.
Yeah, that's a big disruption. I worked for a big financial firm when I was younger, and they went through 3 rounds of layoffs during the 9 years I was there. And I never got laid off, but I watched my friends get laid off, and it was heartbreaking. Just the climate, the culture of people being afraid, of people being anxious really affects you. I love something you said, Wendy. You said, I have had the opportunity to deal with disruption many times. And I do think it's an opportunity. It doesn't feel like it at the time, but there's lessons in it. There's life in it. There's a future beyond it. So when you got laid off, what did you do to stay hopeful, to stay optimistic as you put yourself out there to look for what was next? How did you stay hopeful?
Well, to be honest, the first maybe 30 minutes, I cried. I cried myself out, and I knew that I needed that time to do that.
Yeah.
And after that, I stopped myself and I said, okay, Wendy, you can spend and invest more time crying, or you can have a plan. So I literally sat down on my computer, opened my to-do list, because if you know me, you know that I have to-do lists. And I started writing, what should I do? How can I work things out? And then with time, I started scratching things out of my list. And then I started doing some research. And that's how I became stronger. And I had, it's amazing, but I had more opportunities, more doors open. So when I thought one door closed, guess what? 10 open. And just to mention something, since you like that word, that I took it as an opportunity, I have always said, even when it hurts, and sometimes it hurts a lot, professionally or personally, anything that happens to you, it's for a good reason. Not just for a reason, but for a good one.
Yeah, I like that. A good reason. So to me, one of the ways you stayed hopeful, and I'm a big list person, but I'm like pen and paper. Like I got lists everywhere of things I'm working on. And I'm worked with 2 clients this week that just got laid off and are looking for what's next in their career. So this is relevant. Thank you for sharing, and feel free to reach out and ask Wendy or I questions throughout this. But is you put yourself out there. You can cry, you can hide for a while. Like we were talking about the other day, and I was saying 3 days, that's the most you get. And then after that, you got to get on with it, right? You got to get on with your life. And so maybe 30 minutes can be good too, only 30 minutes, but making a list, putting yourself out there, staying open, and then more opportunities came. So sometimes when we're feeling overwhelmed, especially, you and I are blessed to live in Florida and we know it's sunny and warm, but I got a lot of friends in the Midwest and just got off an interview out of Canada. It's snowy and cold and they are not having fun. How did you stay healthy? How did you stay healthy emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, relationally, in your career, in your putting yourself out there to be interviewed? Sometimes that rejection can feel very personal if you don't get the job. So what were some of your strategies that you did every day or occasionally to stay healthy in any of those 7 areas?
Wow, Annie, that question touched my heart. It's an amazing question, and I'm glad you asked, because if what I do help others, that brings me, so much happiness. It makes me happy and makes me grateful. Listen, I have a friend. She was super down last week. Okay. And she was down because here in Florida, believe it or not, we had dark days. I mean, not like up north. I know, don't judge me. But for us that we're used to sun, it's kind of depressing. And she works from home. She felt so sad and depressed. So I got the phone and I started sending her voice note. And I said, this is the first voice note. This is the second one, the third one. I went in order because, again, my lists. And I started to try to guide her and help her on how to find happiness on the darkness that she was. Okay. And I'm not talking about just literally. I'm talking about in every way. Since she's my friend and I know already what she likes, I started telling her, go ahead and put this music. And after you put the music, next that song, you put a podcast, because I know that she likes it. Go ahead and turn on all the lights in your house because it's dark. And if you leave it dark, it only is going to make you feel sad. Go ahead and put on some workout clothes and go downstairs to the gym. You have a building. You are lucky that you have a building. Go ahead to the gym. So what I'm trying to say with all of this is that you are the person who knows how to make yourself happy. No one else does, and no one else is expected to make you happy, nor your partner or your boss or your friend or your family. Only you, because only you know what to do that makes you happy. For example, for me, happiness is music, is opening my windows, is getting outside and picking up the mail, going to the supermarket and maybe say hi and you look pretty to the cash register. Things like that make me happy. So you have to do it. I understand sometimes we are down, but if we don't put the effort and we try, listen, I bet that, and I promise actually that if you do it, you're going to notice that difference. It's super different when Wendy wakes up feeling, then Wendy's like, okay, Wendy, dale, let's do it.
I like it. I talk to myself like that too. And this is what we're going to do today. And then I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
I know I'm Paul. The sun is literally rising as I'm on this call with you. So I'm so happy because it's been cloudy here. You're right. And it's not the same as the Midwest, but you get used to that Florida sunshine, but it is glistening on the water at the moment. So I love that you did that for your friend. That's a beautiful story. And you do know her well enough. And though it's her job to actually take action on what you do, when people say, Annie, you changed my life, I say, thank you. But no, I didn't. I can't change your life. I can invite you to do the work. You have to get dressed. You have to listen to the music. Was there something specific you did? So how long ago did you get laid off from your job?
That was August of 2022. I
So,
mean, sorry, 2023.
okay. So
I'm still getting used to 2024.
yeah, I know. I don't know what year it is sometimes too. So yes, was there something you did to keep in your own routine during that time to kind of stay healthy?
Yes, since I told you that I have a list and I can work for hours and days straight and without noticing, and I know it's super bad. So what I did is I prioritized my mental health.
Mm.
I'm a firm believer of mental health. Without this, you cannot do anything, nothing. So what I did is, okay, you will work, you will do these things on your list from this time to this time. And in the afternoon, around 4:30 or 5, depending, because it was August, the day was longer. So I used to walk 6:30 to 7:30 around my neighborhood. Why? Because I needed to breathe pure air. I needed to let my mind loose, to relax a little bit. Yes, I could be an hour applying into 20,000 positions, but instead of applying, how can I be effective if I'm not well, And that made me feel good. Then I came back home, I took a shower, I ate. Another thing, I got laid off, and you know how you have to save money on different expenses, right?
Yeah.
So I needed to save money on food too, but I also didn't want to go to extreme because I need to eat. So I tried to take this into the healthiest way possible. And I said, you're saving money and you're saving calories. Instead of buying, I don't know, chips, which I love chips and chocolate, instead of buying that, buy healthier things that are going to make you fuller, your tummy fuller. You're going to be healthier. They're going to give you more energy here that you needed, and you're spending less money. So I started implementing more protein in my life. So I ate for lunch and dinner a lot of protein with vegetables. And that helped me financially because I saved so much money. In junk food is expensive, and mentally also. And that made me feel good. I'm doing fasting. I normally don't eat for breakfast unless I'm traveling. So I started doing fasting, learning the fact that fasting also helps your body, and I'm saving money on breakfast. So those little things, it might sound crazy when you're saving money on food. It's not saving money, it's putting it in the right place.
That's right. I like that you said junk food's expensive because a lot of people will say healthy food's expensive, but the truth is that a lot of those snacks are very expensive. So it's a good point. And you were just conscientious. You were intentional about, okay, I could eat more protein and vegetables. It'll not only make me feel better, but more of a budget. I can adjust how I eat. I also love that you don't get, I love breakfast, and I like that you don't give it up when you travel because there's so many different experiences with breakfast wherever we are in the world or whatever we're doing. So how did you stay happy? What is one of the ways you're talking about joy and happiness and how that's important to you? Well, I think that laughter really is one of the best forms of medicine. I love to get people laughing mostly at themselves because we get a little too serious and a little too perfectionistic. So what if we could laugh at ourselves and be a little messy? How did you personally stay happy and find laughter in the midst of the hard? And looking for a job can be really challenging for a lot of our listeners, I know.
Another beautiful question. So the two most important things for me is, one of them is to help others. Helping other, it's like it's I cannot express and tell you how much happiness that brings me. Helping others brings me happiness and fills my cup every day. And I try to do it not to make myself happy because it might sound selfish, but because I know that I'll be having someone smiling or learning something from me or whatever the case is. So helping others is one. And the other one is to always have a motivation. My motivation cannot rely on my professional goals. So my motivation is not getting this job, getting that other job, or I don't know, achieving this. No, my motivation has to be totally personal. And one of the motivation that I love the most is to plan a trip. So when I have a trip plan, even if it's super short and inexpensive and all, but just plan the trip, because I know it motivates me to plan what am I wearing, where am I going, what pictures I'm going to take, how I'm going to tell people about this. I'm going to create the travel guide for that, because I create travel guide that I sell online. So that motivation keeps me alive and happy.
I love that. I love to travel. And so I always think anticipating a trip can be as exciting as being on the trip, but you also are two-part, because you're anticipating, you're planning, you're a planner, but then you're sharing that wisdom with other people through a travel guide, plus you're making money. So it's kind of like a win all the way around, right? Like it's just, you're doing this, and each element of the trip has a benefit for you and a benefit for your followers or listeners. Where do you spend most of your time on social media? Are you on Instagram?
Yes, I'm on Instagram as Your Helpful Wendy, as well as every other social media platform there is. You find me as Your Helpful Wendy.
I like that. Wendy, how have you used, what I always like to think about is when we go through these disruptions, storms in our life, there's gifts inside there. There's lessons, there's opportunities. How have you used what you've learned to help other people when they go through different disruptions or a layoff in their life or losing a job? What do you do to encourage other people?
So definitely the connection and with other people's is always helpful. I like to make connection and then share those connections. If I hear of someone and someone share with me that they have experienced or they are experiencing the same that in the past I had, which was the laying up, I always share ideas and tips that have worked with me, and also other ideas that they might have not worked with me, and I tell them, listen, I tried that, it didn't work with me, but you can try it too, because remember, at the end of the day, we're all different industries, different personalities, and works different. But I definitely always share.
Share. Is there something that you wish you would have known a year ago before you got laid off? Like, what would you have told your younger self, yourself before you were laid off a year or two ago? What do you wish you would have known that you've learned over the last year or so?
Maybe, and the reason why I think about it too much, it's because I wouldn't tell anything to my younger self. Because first of all, nothing's going to change. Second, it's good that happened to me, because that company that I was working with is not a company that deserved Wendy. Wendy deserved someone else. Like right now I'm working, even though it's a contract, I'm working with a company that treats me amazing, that respects me, that appreciates my work. And I like that.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't tell anything to Wendy, because Wendy needed to go through that to learn and to not be with those people.
I love that. I sometimes say, we choose disruption too. We choose to move. We choose to leave a job. We choose to leave a relationship or a friendship or whatever. And yet it's hard, maybe even if we choose it, but there's so much better on the other side, and we don't always know. And when people lose their job, one thing a lot of the women I know and men is sometimes they lost a job and that forced them to try something new or start a new career or start their own business that they had always dreamed about, but were too afraid to do. So I love that you're even in a better place with a better contract. And sometimes we don't know how much better it can be if we're just used to that. So that's a beautiful thing. Wendy, do you have a story, especially it sounds like your travel, really you're helpful, Wendy, with people going on trips and travel. Do you have a story of some work that you did that really helped somebody on their trip or on their adventure, or however you have helped them? Do you have a success story of someone you've worked with in the past and how you helped them?
Yeah. There's this small company or brand actually in Budapest.
Okay.
And it's funny because I reached out to them and I told them, listen, I'm traveling to Budapest. I had the opportunity to go there. And, I'm a travel blogger. I would love to know more about what you have. And the person in charge, she told me that they invited me to go to a wine tasting. I had no idea what my eyes were about to see on that wine testing. First of all, it's a total different story because, it's Budapest, it's Europe, it's different than US, how we're used to here. And so that was amazing. I learned so much. They had their own wine. I was like in a cave, so it was so cool. I got to go in a taxi. I mean, I forgot when was the last time I got into a taxi because we're used to other transportation methods that we're not going to mention.
Yeah.
But I was in a taxi and it was yellow. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I recorded and took pictures of my entire experience. And after that, I went to the wine testing. And of course, I shared it with the world. I didn't only share it on my social media platforms. I also share it on Google Maps, and I wrote a Google review, and then I wrote a TripAdvisor review. Why? Because in Europe, those are very important. People look at that before booking a wine tasting or any type of experience. So I did that. They never asked me anything. They didn't ask me anything. I just did it because I wanted. I was so happy that I wanted to share with the world what they can experience over there and also help this small business. Well, look at this. She was so happy with everything, and she didn't know that I was writing all that because she didn't have time. The very next day, she sent me an email and she said, since you're still here, we would like you to have, since you're still here, come because we want you to have a culinary experience. So it was a full day. I was there with other 6 people. Among them were people from Australia, an important travel magazine in Australia. So I was able to learn more about the culture, the food, and everything around Budapest. We went in a market, then we walked around the streets. So that experience was mind blowing for me, and I needed to share with the world, and I did. So these people, she then sent me an email to thank me for how I share with them. How I share with others about them. And this is like maybe a month after I got back to the US because I helped their business. I didn't know that I could help someone outside of my country. So it was great.
That's wonderful. What a win-win. Beautiful for you. And I also love, Wendy, and I'm such a believer in this, is go above and beyond.
Yeah.
Don't just do what you agree with. Don't just, when I get hired to speak, I'm always like, I'll do your keynote, but what else can we do to serve you? If I'm there, let's go to dinner with the board. Let's help the leadership team. I love that you're saying, I was going to do this, but she didn't even know it, and I did this. And I hope it multiplies for lots of business being sent her way, but also lots of business being sent your way. And that is the thing about a generous spirit. I love that you said, it brings me joy to serve other people. I think sometimes people think, I'm too busy, I don't have time. But it actually doesn't take away from us to do kindness. It multiplies our joy, which multiplies our energy, which multiplies our ability to make a difference in the world and to have significance. So I love that. Beautiful story. What is something that you love to do personally? Like it sounds like travel. So what's your favorite place to go to? I go to lots of places too, and I love to travel. But I have not been to Budapest. I would like to go there.
Beautiful. So this goes with travel and restaurants. Okay. I try to the max to avoid going to the same restaurant or the same place because life is too short. We're not going to have enough time to do everything, right? And we are not going to double invest. So if I already invested in going to, I don't know, Atlanta or Budapest, I'm not going to do the same, do the same expenses at the same place. That doesn't mean that I didn't like Budapest or I didn't like, North Carolina. I like them, but since I already went, I don't go back to the same places. Mm-hmm. So I like to explore different areas. And when I travel, I make sure I try to look for things that are not the typical touristy places that everyone goes
Yeah.
just because it's more of the same and it doesn't attract me. Like going to the Eiffel Tower for me, maybe if I could ever have a relationship, maybe. But no, for me, take me to those little streets, show me, a coffee shop that it's a hidden gem. Those things are the things that I like. And I know my people like it too.
I love that. The woman that was on my talk show a couple weeks ago, we're going to go to Cape Cod, and she said, "I will tell you the places where nobody else knows about." And I'm like, those are the best. And I like to go to different places. I think it's that spirit of adventure, right? Like, where can you go and what can you discover that other people may not know? Maybe the locals know, but you're supporting a small business and all the different things. Well, Wendy, it's been so fun to have you here and share part of your story. What is the best way for our listeners to connect with you? What's a great way to stay connected to you?
The best way is either on LinkedIn or Instagram. And Instagram is super easy. You can just type "You're helpful, Wendy," because I'm here to help you.
Excellent.
And that's it. Say hi, and I'm here to help you all. Thank you so much for having me, Annie.
Oh, I'm so glad you were here. I love your positive, energetic spirit. I love your enthusiasm for travel, adventure, food, wine, whatever it is, living life to the fullest. It is so true. I just feel like we are just surrounded by people that are sick and dying right now. And I'm like, every moment, don't waste a moment, savor the moment, celebrate the moment, enjoy the moment. So thank you for your living life to the fullest, seizing the day moments that you're sharing with us. Please reach out to Wendy. Please don't hesitate to ask questions, comments about how you can navigate disruption with hope, health, and happiness. Thanks for being with us, and see you next week. Take care.
Thank you.